Our next speaker is coming from Technical University of Berlin, Germany. Leon Urbas will speak on something different, an open user adaptive internet portal for scientific community. It's called useworld.net. Yeah, so please.
Thank you for the introduction. Hello and welcome. I want to tell a little bit about a project we did in the last 2.5 years, an open user adaptive scientific internet portal for the human-machine interaction community. Just to get you in, what useworld.net is. It's a very simple mission statement. We had to develop and operate a user adaptive scientific portal for the German-speaking human-machine interaction community. This community is rather heterogeneous. It combines psychologists, engineers, computer scientists, and construction engineers as well. It was not inexpensive, this project. It was 2.5 years long and sponsored by about €500,000 and done in a cooperation with 4 universities, Aachen, Berlin, Essen, and Kaiserslautern. And we had a partner in Zurich we could not pay for because the DFN sponsored the money with money from the German Ministry of Education and Research. The challenges for this project were first the design. The design had to meet the requirements of the heterogeneous user group, and actually we only partially knew the requirements when we started. And even during the progress, it's not possible to know the requirements all at once. One point we have decided to do to meet the heterogeneity of the interests of our users is user adaptation. Another challenge is in technology. We had to integrate existing information sources with cooperation services, and one of the internal goals for us was to build reusable, extendable components. I don't go further into this in this presentation. If you're interested, just ask later. And another one is to develop an operation, an inexpensive operation procedure, an operation strategy, which means one of the most important goals was to activate and enable the users to become the content providers for this portal. I already said we had some components integrated in the portal. Existing one, a conference database, an expert database, an electronic online journal, a link collection with other information sources like news, mail and news groups. That's not real news groups, but that's metadata on activities in news groups, on themes in news groups, and document server. And last but not least, we extended it to do some online cooperation with a shared workspace, which means you have something like a hard disk in the internet, access to a hard disk. While cooperating on one floor is not easy, still cooperating in a distributed environment is still more demanding, because all these little things, when you go together to have some lunch, this informal level is completely missing, often enough. So we introduced some agents which take or automate your task to be aware what your community, your partners are doing. So this agent will inform you, or currently does inform you on changes, whether somebody has read the article you gave to him, and so on. And last component I want to talk about is the proxy, which allows you to take use WorldNet on your journey through the document space of the internet. That is, this proxy puts in a little toolbar which tells you whether other people in UseWorld already have seen this document or not. Okay. From these challenges, from these components, we've derived some software design objectives. First of all, user activity. Users are editors. That's the concept. So there's no clearinghouse, there's no professional team, no librarians. The users have to provide all the content and organize themselves. To support it, we created a role concept with moderators, which shall support the building up of a community, of communication, of common rules, or something like a netiquette. And we did this agent support for having this awareness task automated. One issue in sampling information from the internet is always quality of content, because it's rather heterogeneous itself. Therefore, we put in some rating mechanisms so we can do something what's called collaborative filtering. And once again, here, the role concept has to support this rating process. Adaptivity, as I mentioned before, we use a user model to change the way we present and select information. So ratings, where the user model or information where your user model in the system thinks that you are interested in will be shown in a prominent place. And it's based, or any model needs some data to get an idea of what you are wanting to do. And it's based on your interaction, on your ratings, and on your cooperation with other people in the portal. And last but not least, as we have personal data, a further issue with personal data privacy, and we found a way to ensure in our software design integrity that no programmer could program outside of the rules we gave us ourselves for the personal data privacy. To give you an impression what useworld.net looks like, just some few slides about the surface of it before I'm going a little bit under the hood. All of the information services are collected in something we call a catalog, which means it's some words, oops, that was the wrong one, some topics, and it builds up a hierarchy. That means not a single tree, but a tree with multiple roots which can cross together, because you can imagine any one document is not good indexed by only one of these items here. If you just go into one of these points here, then you will see just lists. So why didn't we do anything other? Our users didn't want to. So we have tried, we have made some experiments with room metaphors like Microsoft suggests. But our people said that's a working tool. We just want to have a very fast access to the information. So we decided to make it very clean, very, let's say, undecorated. And here, what you see here is the interaction with the portal. At every point where you can interact, when you can do things, you have this icon, and you get a interaction pop-up like this. And there you can see it's in German that you can move, you can change, and so on. And I want to point your attention on this thing here. Here you can easily rate content for yourself. You can say, okay, that sounds good, give it 5 points, and so on. And to the next story, the support for cooperative work is just in a similar design, but as the functions are different, we tried to give in color and other things a direct hint. So this is another place. It's a private place where you can meet with the interest group, for instance. So, switching from this surface, I want to invite you to go on another idea with me. I think what we are doing, we can call it socialware. It's software that supports social activities between people. And that means the software supports linking people. That means searching people, finding people. That smoothes your communication by providing context and by providing some means to easily build up groups. And last but not least, the technical thing, it integrates services. So it provides you with means to efficiently search and find information. And what we've done in UseWorld to provide a so-called socialware layer, that's the yellow one here, we have little agents which watch your interaction with the classic portal functionalities, information and cooperation services, and they build up a personal user profile and use this user profile to reconstruct your connection to others in your network. So it makes a reduced picture of what you are doing and informs you about the activities in the portal. Last point on the details on UseWorld is the role concept. Out of the world, anybody, everybody can read anonymous access, but it's a restricted access. If you are anonymous, you have no access to personal data. Nevertheless, just to increase trust, you get at least the ID of the person IDs of the contributions. So you can identify and connect things together. If you want to create modifier rate, you have to get them. You have to become a member of UseWorld, and this can be pseudonymous, so just by email and any nickname you want to give to yourself. So it's one of the requirements of the German Data Privacy Act. But if you're going there with your full name, you can take over further responsibilities. You can be moderator of such a category, so you're allowed to structure a theme which you're very interested in. And another point are the super moderators, we call it here, and their main task is to communicate netiquette and things, how we will want to do it in this portal. So, UseWorld.net is online. Everybody of you can use it today. It's online since March 2003. We presented it on ZBit this year. And the user feedback is positive. The community is slowly growing, not as fast as we want to. And the next steps are now, after we had the first experiences with real users and not selected users, is to promote it, to do acquisition, and to transfer the technology we have developed. Well, I want to thank you for your attention, for my presentation of the work of lots of people I've put on this slide. And I just will invite you to visit us on useworld.net. And if you're interested in further work we are doing, just visit us at our homepage. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Urbas. Are there any questions for our last speaker? We have more than enough time. So if there are questions, you are welcome. I do have one. My question would be on the size of your community. Any numbers, any guesses?
Yes, it's about 500 people in Germany, researchers and professionals.
In one of the previous slides, you had that diagram showing that there are some that have anonymity and the others who do have identity in your system.
Yes, also currently we have about 70 registered users, and they just split in 50 to 50%. So half of the of our customers, of our users, decided to keep a pseudonymous identity. So one of the points of this pseudonymity is that they cannot register as an expert for special topics.
So you have no fears about scalability, that your system will blow out? Or...
Well, actually, that's what I leave to the techies. So if we need scalability, then we would, I think we would put in a faster server, put in a better database. At the moment, it's all public domain software. That was one of our objectives I didn't mention here. But if you want to, you can put in a DB2 database or something like that and just push performance.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, if not, thank you for your attention, ladies and gentlemen. We'll now have a break, and after that, a closing session. Thank you very much, and let me thank again to all of our speakers today.